And we are live. Hello.
Hello.
The lighting adjusted all of a sudden. There you go. That works a little bit.
You got it hung up back here. Too.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, that's good.
Better?
Somewhat better. Good morning. So we have the interesting discussion today, but we have coffee. Oh, yeah, Panda. So we're doing LaVazza this morning, just to do something a little. Even though it's medium roast, it just tastes. It's got more substance, but that's LaVazza. I think is just because of the brand. It's always tastes like it's espresso, even though it might not be espresso. But anyway,
well, their grind is usually finer.
Yeah. So first, happy Thursday. Happy second week of January. I've actually been keeping up with my reading and so far keeping up with my 12-week year. And it's just a lather, rinse, repeat, recommit every morning kind of thing. So that's been helping. But the heavy discussion today, we're just going to go into just the basics. This could be a several hour deep dive. I am not doing that. But I've gotten a lot of stuff sent to me lately by friends, music, and other videos that are clearly AI. The music, you have to look, most things you have to look in the hashtags to see if AI is credited. But there's a lot of musicians now that aren't musicians that are using AI 100%, not just for the videos, but for the music itself. And those you kind of have to deep dive a little more on, researching. One of them, Esme Rose, and it sucks because I really like the music, or I really like the beat, the lyrics are great, and then I find out that it's a completely 100% AI. I, because of my stance on it, will not share it. I tell people to, keep sending me stuff. Don't, just because you think it's AI or you're not sure, go ahead and send it to me and I can let you know. If you want to know. But I collect stuff for Imaginarium, which is the convention that we do in July, so that I have talking points, or I have references, or I'm on the panel this year. My friend Moon, who I've been on Sako and the Moon's podcast, which I will link to down below after the fact. But Moon is modding a panel, or Chad is modding a panel, and Moon and I are on it, or Chad and I are. I think Chad's modding the panel. I don't remember. One of the two of them is modding the panel, and then the other one and I are going to be on it. So I think it was Chad was on Star Chamber, which I'll link.
Either way, all three of you are in the room.
Yeah, so pretty much. Good point. But AI is everywhere. AI is not going anywhere. At this point, it's just how to navigate safely as a creative. A lot of us, it's like the old joke about nobody reads the iTunes terms of service. It's like blah blah blah, click. Let me get to my stuff.
The TOS.
Yeah. So it's, be careful what you sign up for. Be careful on social. They tend to, especially the big M, they tend to change their terms of service. And so you have to kind of keep up with, what changes they've made, what power you're giving away for your own work. And if you don't have a choice, and if they train AI with your stuff, don't sign up for it. it's hard for me to get completely away from M because of the fact that my groups are on Facebook, and I was heavy into Instagram for a really long time. But and as much as I love Instagram, I have moved over to Blue Sky. Um, there's a lot of people that just don't want another social. So I have been using Instagram on and off again lately. And I really need to get off it completely because of the fact that they use AI to train stuff and work. People's creative work is constantly stolen on a lot of the social media platforms because people don't change their permissions or don't look at their permissions. Um, being in the Fediverse, which means the big investors don't have control over them. They're usually open source or they're community based, is safer. But even then, it's you take your chances posting anything online anymore. Um, I do a lot of my sticker designs and a lot of my other stuff on Twitch so that there's a record of me actually creating it by hand. Whether I'm drawing, in a sketchbook or drawing in the iPad on Procreate. So there's people that troll artists and accuse them of being AI. They had a witch hunt going on for a while for that, where traditional artists were actually getting accused of using AI. Sometimes it's hard to tell. And we're getting so used to seeing a specific style of artwork, especially with book covers or the gaming industry. A lot of people like D&D, Wizards of the Coast, they started using AI. Most of the time you can tell it's blatant, but as it progresses, it gets better and better and harder to tell unless you're in the design industry and know what to look for. So be safe, read terms of service is pretty much all you can do unless you just stay off of it completely. I don't tend to post, I don't post the actual file. I don't even tend to post the actual, like a thumbnail of the artwork. Like if I'm posting stickers, I won't post just the sticker. I'll take a photo, do like a flat lay of the sticker in a scene. Not that AI can't pull out of it, from that too, but it's a little better than just posting your actual, here's my artwork. It's kind of like, here, have this, take this. So, but yeah, it's the world is a very frustrating place right now for independent creatives. But all the industries are being affected. Um, yeah, and there's a lot of, I know you've seen stuff with the gaming industry with tabletop and voiceovers. Actually, you were talking about that.
Audio books in particular.
Yeah.
Or at least I've been told by other audio voiceover creators who've said that you may buy an audiobook and there may be a fully like AI generated voice reading the book, so Audible doesn't have to pay or the author doesn't have to pay a voice actor to read that over however long it takes to.
I think they still have to pay for the AI. I haven't been through that process. I haven't done audiobooks, but we've seen other people on YouTube talking about it. And we'll link to the one that he is referencing down below. But I know several people who are voice actors that this is affecting them. And I will always choose a real person over something synthesized. Just because as a creative, I bootstrapped everything when I started. I did my first logo in 1986, 40 years ago. It is 40 years this year, which is crazy to me. Um, as a junior in high school, and I got paid $200, which in 1986 that was a lot for a first time. And so I dove down the rabbit hole on it, and I couldn't afford to hire somebody to do a logo, to do a website, to do my branding, to do, so I taught myself how to do all of that, taught myself back when it was Macromedia, um, and then eventually Adobe, taught myself how to do everything. And so I get having free resources, and I get being able to do things faster and more efficiently and more conveniently, but at what cost? And because I'm a creative and because I work solely freelance, I can't, in good conscience, do that to somebody else where, I may not be able to afford to do an audiobook right now. And that's fine. I can do one later, or I can get with a friend. And, I don't do friends and family discounts. I think that undermines the process. And so I will insist on paying full cost to people, to other independent creators. Um, if somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I would like to commission you to do this, can we trade?" That's another story. But I don't I don't want to do that to people. We had a friend of mine, Michael, who I'd gone to high school with, um, was a photographer, and I knew he was wanting to get more into wedding photography. Most of what he did previously was NASCAR and racetracks and full motion video, that kind of thing. But he wanted to get into doing stills and portraits and wedding photos. So back then, the going rate was 125 an hour, and he's like, "Well, we'll come and spend the day or whatever and do $75 an hour for 3 hours or whatever." And I was like, "No, your going rate is $125. That's what I'm going to pay you." So I think we did 2 or 3 hours, and he showed up with his wife as a second photographer and did a photo booth for us. And it was pretty much like, "This is a wedding gift. You can't say no." And it was great. And the photos turned out awesome. We got like 200
amazing.
photos.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun doing like action shots and stuff outside, because it was an outdoor wedding. But I'm very, hey, good morning.
Good morning.
We are having a great day. Any day that I'm vertical and have coffee is a good day. But even if I don't have coffee, it's a good day. But vertical, yes. So how are you doing today? But yeah, we're talking the hard stuff. But there is such a thing as perceived value, and I don't gotta stay off the floor. Yep. Stay above ground. It's as an indie creative, I know what bills you have to pay, how hard it is to hustle. I know all that. So I want to value my people that I use, that I farm out stuff to, and because I would like that in return is somebody, saying, "Hey, I can't afford you right now," or "Can we do a payment plan?" Because I'm willing to do that usually, but I don't discount. I think you sell yourself short and you sell your customer short by doing that, because your heart's not going to be in the work. It does affect your work. I've turned down huge gigs because I wasn't into the subject matter enough to do it justice. I actually got offered the illustrator gig for a major gaming IP, and turned it down because the subject was mainly vehicles, cars. Kind of think cyberpunk. And I love cyberpunk. I'm not so much into the cars as far as drawing them. I don't have a problem with like Mad Max and that kind of thing, the steampunk grungy and that kind of stuff. I love it, but it's not what I draw. It's not necessarily, I mean, I can mimic just about any style, but it's not my thing. So I actually turned the gig down to keep my integrity. Um, and the money would have been good, but seldom do commission work. Yeah. I know there's a couple of people that I'm talking to right now as far as doing some crochet work for me because my hands do not do well with crochet. So, but it was in that situation. Also, I pay, don't give me a discount. What would you normally charge? Kind of thing for commission work. And I value that. I value their time and I value the pains that they're going to go through in creating something. So I try to, give that respect to other people too. So what were we going to say? Oh, okay. He had his hand on the desk and I was like, is that a cue?
No.
So,
no.
But yeah, and unfortunately, AI does create some cool stuff, but it's not their own creation because they're doing it off what they're trained, and they're being trained on real people with or without permission. Mostly without permission. Generative is known art theft. Assistive, I can get behind assistive, but it's not a closed system. That's the problem. If I could train my own work and knew that it wasn't going to go anywhere in order to automate things on the back end for myself, like social media, I would love to have a virtual assistant that did social media work for me. I can't afford right now to hire somebody at $350 a month. That's a car payment, which I'm not even doing car payments right now. I've got a much older car, 20-year-old, Scion, and it needs replaced, and I can't afford to do car payments right now. So being able to hire an assistant, yeah, I could hire an assistant and get more work done and potentially make more money, but it's, we have different priorities, and being able to, schedule posts is phenomenal because I can sit and binge social media posts for an entire day and write up stuff that is scheduled out a week, 2 weeks, whatever I need to. I do have in my groups on Facebook, I do have a birthday post that goes up on the first of the month that is, automated to say, hey, happy birthday if your birthday is this month, celebrating you kind of thing. And I have one that goes up on Thursdays that's a self-promotion one for Two Crows in the private community that I have there. For anybody to post, hey, if you've got shows this weekend, if you've got, something you just added to your calendar, please let me know. So that way I can take it from the private group and post it to the page. And that protects me from having to have another admin person have access to my stuff there. It's all interconnected through Renmeleon. So something happens, I could lose my presence there. Just my personal page alone, I've got 1.3 thousand followers, friends, whatever. And I've got over 1,000 on Instagram. So every once in a while, I'll download the CV so that I have those contacts. And then I also have the mailing list, and there's so much stuff that on social media that you don't own. You may think those followers are yours, but it's kind of like the argument when you buy music, it doesn't belong to you. So it's navigating and being up on, staying alert to terms of service changes and being able to figure out what to do, what not to do when you're posting your stuff, and being able to source ethically, research musicians, research videographers, research, do your homework. But like I said, some of the stuff that, it comes out with is pretty crazy. There's a part of what prompted this is friends were sending me music that, like I said, wasn't, it's completely AI generated lyrics, music, the whole nine. So it's somebody putting keywords in, and AI is generating everything from start to finish. And the other one was a Josh Johnson, who's a fabulous comedian. If you have not seen him, pull up Josh Johnson in YouTube. He did a short on AI, which I've seen the whole bit, but the short was pretty to the point. And I'll link that below. But he was talking about the Chinese AI DeepSeek. Hold on a second. DeepSeek. Yeah, DeepSeek. And so he did a comedian comic bit, stand-up bit about it. And it's a AI generated poem. I don't know what the prompt was, but this is sorry that I mucked up with that AI graphic I posted. Oh, no worries. No worries. No worries. I've got it in there as like rule number 3 is absolutely no AI. I won't even use it for reference. I've had clients that have been like, here's what I thought of this. And I'm like, no, give me your information. Do not send me that kind of stuff because I don't look at it. Hey, Lacey. But there's a poem and there's an article, and I'll send it to y'all. But the response in question that Josh talks about is the AI saying, I am what happens when you try to carve God from the wood of your own hunger. And he's like, and I never slept again. I haven't slept since. I was like, yeah. And it turns out, because there's a reference to do androids dream of electric sheep, which is Philip K. Dick's book, and Isaiah chapter 44 from the Old Testament. So it's a interesting read. It's a very deep read. I think it's beautiful, but it's unnerving, to say the least. And so I will post a link to that. Somebody did a deep dive on it. It's gonna get harder before it gets better. There's not enough management, and it's progressing at such an exponential level that I feel like at some point they're just going to lose control of it completely. But, we've all seen like iRobot, all the if you've ever seen a sci-fi movie, it's like we don't learn.
It's like every Terminator film.
Yeah. But it's It's just about, being vigilant. You just got to be vigilant. Yeah, I really hate
It's like,
AI. Like it's meant to do dishes and stuff, so I can go do creative stuff, not have people get more stupid as they depend on AI to think for them. I have not to say that they're stupid. They're looking for easy, convenient, efficient. But I know a lot of writers that use Chat GPT, which, as far as I'm concerned, is the devil. Because, and that's saying a lot coming from me, um, is that your mind is a muscle, your brain is a muscle. If you don't use it, you're going to lose the skill. If you rely on things like Chat GPT to generate ideas for you, pretty soon you're not going to be able, you're going to get out of the habit. You're going to reach for that first, and you're not going to have those skills anymore. You're not going to have the logic skills, just being able to brainstorm, mind map and stuff, which I love doing on paper. Um, I refuse to even touch Chat GPT. I know there's a lot of advantages to it, but again, at what cost? I'm not willing to give up my power. I'm not willing to give up my skills just for easy. Um, yeah, if there's something that I can train as far as like setting up an automated system or, um, in Photoshop, you can record actions and do different things with that. But that's me telling it what to do. And it's a closed system. It's not me asking AI to do something. I have major issues with Adobe, and I use Creative Cloud, um, in that Adobe Firefly is generative AI and it's not a closed system. So, you know, it feels almost like a betrayal. It's, you're giving creatives this power to create stuff and then you're undermining it by allowing people to bypass learning the skills, you know?
It's like when you look at AI, you don't want AI to do what you're passionate about. You want it to do the chores at home that you have to do after you're done doing what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
It's like Rosie can do my chores all day long. I want to go to work and do the things that I'm happy doing, that I enjoy, that I'm passionate about, that I love helping people do. I don't want AI to do that stuff for me where I've got to come home and now I've got a pile of things to do. I'd rather have Rosie if I'm going to have AI because it can do that. I come home and I don't have to worry about, oh, well, now I have to tire myself out doing everything else because nobody was here to help me.
No.
Just a thought.
I had the most insulting comment from someone trying to be helpful to tell me to use Chat GPT to name my character, my stories, and do some of the writing. And I'm like, no. Yeah, no. One of my favorite rants, which I've linked to before, but I'll link to again, is Emma Thompson on Stephen Colbert's show. And he asked her what her opinion was of AI. And she's like, I write things by hand. And then I go into Microsoft and I transcribe stuff. And Microsoft is like, would you like me to write this for you? And she's like, fuck no. I mean, she goes off. She goes off. And it is so brilliant. And she's like, no, I don't want you to help me write this. And it's just like, it started with, it probably didn't start there, but I know the most fluent or the most discussed one is Grammarly. And Emma Thompson's amazing. If you haven't seen the movie Dead Again with her and Kenneth Branagh, you need to watch it. Um, but and her as Beatrice in Much Ado About Nothing with Kenneth Branagh is my favorite. I got to play Beatrice at one point, and I totally love that role. Um, totally snarky redhead, but um, it's I understand it picking up grammar and spelling and that kind of thing, but now you can just put in a couple of things and it'll write everything for you. And it's like, and people are using it for school. I see a lot of ads that people are like, I've got this paper due or I've got this due. And I'm like, you didn't write it. I hope you proofread it. I hope you read it at all. And that's not your work. Chat GPT, when it first came out, actually created a thing for teachers
to detect if their students
were using
AI.
Chat GPT. Yeah. And now it's like, that's out the window. It just, I don't get it, and then it's being used in school and these people they're passing, while everybody else is slogging through, they're passing if they're not caught in medical professions, in legal professions, and it's like, are you retaining any of that knowledge? Are you, with me, it was you hand wrote notes, or you would audio record and then transcribe notes, or you get together with a bunch of friends and you transcribe notes, and that writing and that repetition, you remembered it, and then so you genuinely earned that grade you got on your paper or on that test. Now people are skating by with stuff, and it's scary because do they have that knowledge retention? Can they actually do that job? Are they faking it through this to get to a certain point, and then what's going to happen?
NVIDIA recently has said they're all in on AI too, and it has been controversial because people think that it's going to drive the cost of graphics cards through the roof, because they're just going to start making all of these graphics cards with AI capability that are going to be way overpriced, for just a person who just wants to do normal stuff with it.
That's scary in the idea of what capacity the AI, what are they using the AI for? Because you already, like, we have video cameras that, or especially me, that I have a little thing I can flip over, and hide my camera.
Right.
It doesn't hide the audio. And there are nefarious people out there that can and will abuse that, whether it's on your phone or any of that. So I would have to look into that. And it's like, okay, what's the capability of AI on a graphics card? Does that mean that they have another point of contact for your information? For, if this is in the computer, they have do they have access past the graphics card
that's already attached to your motherboard,
camera, for motherboard, for, and it sounds very Big Brother conspiracy theory, but I have learned in my 56 years on this planet that it's not whether or not you're paranoid, it's whether or not you're paranoid enough. I have family members that have worked high-end security for, like, Martin Marietta, Lockheed Martin, that kind of thing, and other people that I know that do tech security, IT, security, and just internet security. And there's so much out there that people don't realize how connected we are, beyond Gmail providing ads for stuff, Google providing ads for, I'll go look up something online, and then somewhere else on Google, I'll see an ad for it. And it's like, I don't want a Doctor Who got by on it. Yeah. It's just, be vigilant, stay vigilant. That's all you can do. Um, be selective about what garbage in, garbage out was always the thing that, you know, I was preached to when I was younger is, nutrition is more about more than what you're eating. You're also consuming media, audio, be selective about what you're putting in your body. Be selective about what you're putting out. And, somebody, even if it's somebody trusted, sends you something, do your homework. We were listening to music that was completely AI generated. And now that we know, we're like, okay, research this. Because I had somebody send me an Esme Rose song. Esme Rose doesn't exist. They are completely AI. And I caught it because the vocals sounded very much the same. Like it was the same person singing, but it was under a different name on another AI song that we found. So I looked it up and yeah, it's totally AI. So it's just and there's some cool stuff that people have sent me and it's like I can't share this. This is AI, by the way, kind of thing. So
the Grammarly ads infuriate me because as someone who has been tagged to manually edit small magazines, small periodicals, just to make sure that there aren't, missing commas.
He's my second set of eyes.
Missing commas or an extra conjunction, an extra and or an extra the or something like that in a sentence here and there, to just read the whole thing for flow. And these students are like, oh, I use this to edit. And I'm like, learn how to edit. Learn how to write. Learn a second language.
Learn how to spell.
It helps.
Learn how to spell.
I took 2 years of Latin in college and then tutored students for 5 years. Yeah, I should probably be editing.
It's like do the work.
I should probably be editing because
do the work.
I have the language base for it. And it just infuriates me when people are like, "Oh, here, I'm going to plug this in and not even look at it."
You're married to an instigation motivator.
I just got done reading a book where
Val's going to be editing this year.
I started like making corrections in the book, just small in pen, especially where there were things like numerical values that were the wrong number that I knew were supposed to be a different number. And I would write the proper number so that the book was correct.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Recently found a guy who uses AI to sing his songs for, as far as I know, he writes the music, but still, I just can't try. Yeah. There's like one of the things that I thought was really cool and scary at the same time. And Envato does courses, which I will not link to. But there's a couple of companies that do AI and can make you into a Yeti or a Sasquatch or something like that. Like I could make myself into a moon rabbit. But it's AI generated animation and I'm seeing ads for it all over the place. And it's like, I want to support real creatives. I want to support and consume real media. And I can understand completely now, as much as a tech head as I am, why my mom is pretty much a Luddite. Is there's so much. And it's just, part of it is I'm getting older and I have less time for shenanigans and less tolerance for shenanigans. Yeah. So it's, I want real and I want to support real people. I want to support good people that are in the world my daughter's growing up in because she's going to have her generation is having to deal with our screw ups. We're having to deal with our parents' screw ups, and it's just being a independent creative is hard enough as it is without having to compete with yourself practically. with, what somebody says, that they own your voice, or they own your likeness, or they own your work, or they, because you use their software. Just that's the biggest thing, is stay alert, read the terms of service, log through it, look for the points, do a search, find in page kind of thing, and look for specific terms that relate to artificial intelligence, and just be smart about stuff. But much love to all my independent creators out there, regardless of what industry you work in, whether it's design or music or content creation, anything. Hang in there. We got this. And this isn't much of a deep dive on AI. This could be hours. We're going to be doing the panel at Imaginarium in July in Louisville. So
how much time did they slot you guys for that?
Usually the panels are 2 hours, but they have to, and they have to use the room for the next group. So that's the only thing that keeps. That's why my workshop that was supposed to be an hour and a half went for 5 hours, is because they took me out in the lobby and had me go for another 3 hours. But because we had to give the room up. But just read, research, do your homework, and don't just blindly consume. But thanks for hanging out with us. If you want to continue the discussion in the chat, you're welcome to. But so that's my stance, is generative can go to hell. I'll be blunt. But we're finding our footing. I'm gonna link to a thing on Cameron and the Avatar series too. There's a thing where he's going to be using generative AI, but he's not doing it to replace his crew or get rid of his crew. He's trying to use it in ways that will help the creatives. I'm got mixed feelings on that, but I'll link to that too. But y'all have a great rest of your week. We will see you next week. If you would like us to talk about certain topics, feel free to comment, and we will look into stuff as we plan out the year. And we will see you next week. My next live stream on Twitch is Saturday at noon Eastern Standard for art. No AI.
I'll have a new book review next week as well. I just finished reading a book, and I'm currently rereading it because it's only about 105 pages or something like that. It's a book on table wargaming. So
we'll talk about that one next week. That was a Christmas present.
I have a brief overview on that, and it's great because it uses decks of cards. So.
Yeah, anything hands-on.
Yeah.
So, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.